Hi everyone, in this session we are going to discuss nutrition in animals. Let's understand how nutrition happens in amoeba. Amoeba is a unicellular organism. Unicellular means that it is made up of one cell and the shape of the cell is irregular, means it is not having a definite shape and it is present in water bodies. Now the question arises, when we talk about nutrition in amoeba, how does it take food? It takes food by a finger-like projection called pseudopodia and food vacuole. Now where the food is digested? The food is digested inside the food vacuole and absorption also takes place over there. Then the undigested food is sent out through the surface of the cell. Let's understand this with the help of a diagram. Amoeba is having an irregular shape. Inside amoeba there is a cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is present in all the cells and it contains nucleus. This is the food particle which is present. Now amoeba catches its prey. We can say the food particle has its prey. Amoeba catches its prey with the help of a finger-like projection called pseudopodia. If it finds its food particle, the pseudopodia which is present, it moves towards the food particle which is called as prey. So this structure is called pseudopodia. Later, it forms a food vacuole. So this is food vacuole. And the food particle has reached inside. After reaching the food vacuole, the food is digested and absorbed. Later on, the undigested food is sent out through the surface of the cell. This is absorbed and this is undigested food will be sent out through the surface of the cell. So let's revise nutrition in amoeba. Amoeba is having irregular shape. So whenever it finds a food particle, it moves towards it. Amoeba forms a finger-like projection called pseudopodia which catches the prey and the pseudopodia combines and forms a food vacuole where the food is digested and absorbed. Later on, the undigested food is sent out through the surface of the cell. This is how nutrition occurs in amoeba. Nutrition in human beings. In human beings, where does the nutrition takes place? Let us understand some key features of nutrition in human beings. First is that where does it takes place? It takes place in digestive system, and this digestive system consists of alimentary canal and glands. Glands produces enzymes which breaks down the complex food into smaller molecules. Now let us understand what are the main organs which are present in the human digestive system. Digestion starts from mouth. Inside the mouth we have teeth, tongue and even salivary gland. Then the food passes through esophagus and reaches next organ, that is stomach. From stomach it goes to small intestine, then to large intestine and at last to anus. It goes out. Now what are the glands which are present in the digestive system? In the mouth, salivary gland. In the stomach, gastric gland, liver, pancreas and intestinal glands which are present in the small intestine. Now let's understand human digestive system with the help of a diagram. Whenever we eat food, it reaches to the mouth. So the first part is mouth, and inside the mouth salivary gland is present. Now this is pharynx, food pipe, esophagus. So when we eat food, it reaches to the mouth. Teeth helps in the breakdown of the complex food and it is mixed with the saliva which is produced by the salivary gland, and tongue rolls the food and it passes through the pharynx and goes to esophagus and reaches to stomach. Then this is liver, gallbladder is present. Liver which secretes bile juice and which is stored in the gallbladder. This is pancreas. Now it reaches small intestines. The first part which is connected to the stomach is known as duodenum. The small intestine is connected to the stomach with the help of duodenum. And in humans, the small intestine is nearly 6 meters long. The middle part of the small intestine is called jejunum. The end part of the small intestine, which is attached to the colon, is called ileum. These three are the parts of small intestine. Now, the food reaches to the large intestine. The first part of the large intestine is colon, where absorption of the water and nutrients takes place, and even the storage of waste matter. The next part is known as cecum. It's a pouch attached to the junction of small intestine and large intestine. This comprises of large intestine. The large intestine of human being is nearly 1.5 meter long. Below the cecum, appendix is present. And appendix is a small pouch-like sac tissue in lower right abdomen. Now, from the large intestine, the food reaches to rectum. Rectum is the concluding part of the large intestine that terminates in the last part, that is anus. The average length of human rectum is nearly 10 to 15 centimeter. After rectum, it reaches to the anus and the stool comes out through a peristaltic movement. Now let us study about the organs and the glands which are present in the digestive system, and the enzymes or the juices which is produced by these glands and the organs, and the functions of it. So the first process of digestive system starts with the organ mouth, and the gland which is present in the mouth is salivary gland. The enzyme which is produced by the salivary gland is salivary amylase. The function of salivary amylase is that it converts the starch into sugar. The second organ which is present in the digestive system is stomach, and the gland which is present is gastric gland, and it secretes gastric juice. The fluid which is present in the stomach is HCl acid, that is hydrochloric acid, and its function is that it kills harmful bacteria that enters the food, and also it makes the medium acidic for the action of pepsin. Next enzyme is pepsin. The function of pepsin is that it digests the proteins which are present. Mucus. It protects the inner lining of the stomach from the corrosive action of HCl acid. Next gland is liver. It secretes a juice called bile juice. Now, this bile juice makes the medium acidic for the action of pancreatic enzyme. The second function of bile juice is that it breaks down the large fat molecules into the small globules so that enzymes act upon them. Next gland is pancreas. Pancreas secrete pancreatic juice, and this pancreatic juice consists of enzyme amylase, trypsin, and lipase. The function of amylase is that it converts carbohydrates to glucose, whereas the function of trypsin is that it converts proteins into amino acids. The function of lipase is that it converts fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Now let us understand how the process of digestion takes place in human beings. First, when we take in food, it reaches a first part, that is the first organ, mouth. And in the mouth, the food is broken down into smaller particles by the help of teeth, and it is mixed with saliva from the salivary gland. So, where is the saliva produced? Saliva is produced from the salivary gland. And saliva contains the enzyme called salivary amylase, which converts starch into sugar. After this process, the food then passes through the esophagus to the stomach. Now, once the food reaches to the stomach, the gastric gland which is present in the stomach produces gastric juice, which contains the enzyme pepsin, hydrochloric acid, and mucus. The pepsin helps to break down the proteins, whereas hydrochloric acid makes the medium acidic and helps in the action of pepsin. Mucus protects the wall of the stomach from the action of acid, that is hydrochloric acid. Then the food passes into small intestine. Now, once the food reaches the small intestine, the upper part of the small intestine is called duodenum. The food is mixed with the bile from the liver. Bile is the juice which is produced by the liver, and the pancreatic juice which is produced from the pancreas. The bile breaks down the fat into small globules, whereas pancreatic juice contains the enzyme called trypsin and lipase. Trypsin breaks down the proteins and lipase breaks down the fats. In the small intestine, the glands which are present in the walls of the small intestine produces intestinal juice, and the enzymes of this intestinal juice converts carbohydrates into glucose, fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and proteins into amino acids. The walls of the small intestine have several finger-like projections called villi, having blood vessels. It helps to increase the surface area for the absorption of digested food, and then the digested food is absorbed by the blood and transported to all the cells in the body, and the undigested food passes into the large intestine. I repeat, in the small intestine, the gland which is present in the walls of the small intestine produces intestinal juice, and these intestinal juice have enzymes which help in breakdown of this carbohydrate into glucose, fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and proteins into amino acids. The wall of the small intestine has several finger-like projections, which is called villi. A question was asked in the previous board: name the finger-like projection which is present in the small intestine and what are the functions of it. So the answer is villi is present in the small intestine, and the function is that it helps to increase the surface area and absorption of digested food. So after absorption of digested food, then the undigested food passes into large intestine. Now in the large intestine, what is happening? The water is absorbed and the waste material which is present is removed through the anus. So this is the process by which nutrition occurs in human beings. In this session, we have studied about nutrition in amoeba and nutrition in human beings. In the next session, we will be studying about respiration process. Thank you.